it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. So today I'm going to start working on my Christmas altered book again. I haven't visited this book since before Christmas, and as you may or may not be aware, I had some technical difficulties and I wasn't able to upload any videos to YouTube. So I put this project on hold because it was something that I had hoped to do on camera, and as a result I wasn't able to. So I want to revisit. I may have just had a little flick through a moment ago. I'm still in love with the way it's turning out, and I do really want to finish it. So I have decided that I will continue even though it isn't Christmas or even close to Christmas. I still want to finish this project off, so I may do it intermittently throughout the year, as opposed to jumping in and doing it all at once. But I'm excited to see it finished because I just love it. So the pockets on this page were what we worked on in our last video, and so I'm ready to turn the page. Now I do have some loose leaf pages. These are the pages that I've torn out. Whilst I've been making this book, and this is a little template that I've created, so we'll get to that in a moment. Now I need to work out exactly what I want to do for my next page. I have selected some papers, so I have a little bit of an idea of where I'm going with this 2-page spread. And I'm thinking I might leave this page just as a single page. And so this will be my right facing page. And then I want to tear out 10 pages. So again, if you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I do need to just pull this spine across a little bit because the pages have been tearing at an angle and it's progressing closer towards the center of the page. So by pushing that in, you can see where my page is torn. So I have a crease here, and so when my page is torn out, it's torn out to here rather than further down. So to avoid that from happening in the future, if I just spread the spine a little to be able to get the page to tear as close to the spine as possible, that's what I'm aiming for. And I'm going to tear out 10 pages from the center, or from the spine, sorry. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so this is page number 10. I do have a little bit of bulk there that I'm hoping I can encourage out. I'm just going to look for my tweezers. Okay, I have a couple of pairs of tweezers here. I'm not sure which will work the best. I'm just going to see if I can I'm not so worried about in the center of the page, but close to the top and the bottom I'd like to take a little bit extra out if I can, just to ease up on the bulk in that area. And I think I'm pretty happy with the way that's sitting. Just need to flatten that out. Okay. And so you can see the little pieces that I've taken out there. Half was at the top and half was at the bottom. So it does create a little bit of bulk. And I do like to do that on the odd occasion. And again, as you may or may not be aware, this is the first time I've done an altered encyclopedia, and because it's such a big book, I feel like that may make a difference at the finished result. So I've taken out 10 pages in the center, and these 2 pages here will be a pocket page and then a plain page over here. So okay, now I did just think I do want to, so this is where my pages have been torn out. I want to check and make sure I have a border around the outside that doesn't have any coloured pictures or perhaps text that comes right over to the border, and I don't. It's a black and white page, no coloured images at all, and it has a nice clean border all the way around the outside. So I'm happy with that. If I did have something like that, let's see if I can find this one here, for instance. The picture has come across to the edge of the page, then I would choose the next page along, just so that I don't have, as you see on these pages here, I utilize the border or the edge of the page as a border. So that would be why I would do that. Okay. Now I have a little pro forma here that I've made using one of the pages that I've torn out, and I have measured it on my scoreboard, and I have broken it into thirds, and then I have folded or scored and folded my page, so it's roughly, it's not an exact measurement, it's very close, but so I have this little sheet here that is broken up into thirds that I can use as a guide to create pockets and things in my book. So this page here, I'm thinking I will have 2 pockets. And yes, I know I just said I'd broken this into thirds, but again, I've mentioned in a previous video in this series, because I have such a large book that I'm working with, I feel like I may be able to stretch my imagination a little bit into creating pockets, or sorry, pages with a few differences to what I have done with books that are much smaller in scale. So this is one of those ideas. So I have this pro forma here, it's split into 3 or thirds, and I am going to fold this down. Now essentially what I want to do is create a folded tuck here, trying to keep that relatively straight, and I used this as a guide, which probably wasn't a great idea because it's not sitting on the page straight. Bone folder, and I'm going to tuck that under. Okay, so at this stage it doesn't look any different than perhaps this page here. It's just that I haven't folded it as far, but it will be made with a little bit of a difference. So first thing I need to do is ink, and I have my oxide pad on, so I'm just swapping that out. So I have my vintage photo distress ink, and I'm just going to ink all the way around as best I can. I must say, when I wasn't able to upload videos, I really missed working in this book. I was so enjoying the process, and it's taken me quite a while to get back to it. Of course, it took me a while to sort out my technical difficulties, so whoops-a-day. So there was that. And by that stage, I had actually started another project, which I'm sure you've seen the videos. In the meantime, this has been sitting on my desk calling my name, and I've so wanted to be able to get back and work on it. And I'm using digital papers from AntiquePaperie. So basically lots of different Christmas digitals that they have available from their shop. I don't know that they would be all available now, as it is not Christmas, but I do know one of the sets was put up just recently. I did pop a post on my page. It was put up for a small amount of time, and there was an announcement made that it then wouldn't be available until December 2020. So if you missed out on seeing that, I think it's called Winter in Victoria. If you missed out on seeing that kit when it became available again, keep your eye out in December if you fall in love with it as much as I have, because apparently it will be back in stock then. Okay. So this page here, I just want to glue this little flap down. And I'm just going to burnish that to make sure it adheres well. Okay, and then let's think about decorating. Need to pop my little template aside so I don't misplace it. Now, let me see what I have. So I have this set from AntiquePaperie called Winter Wish, and there are 6 sheets in the set. These I've printed 2 to a page. There's also some that are printed full page a little bit further in. I'm going to be working with the 2 to a page, I think, for this layout. And I've chosen to use the 2 that are on top here. So I will just show you the others because they are beautiful, and I may use them further on in the altered book. So they are the 6 pages. So I'm going to take these 2 here. So that is Winter Wish. Okay, and I'm going to tear these out as they are on the page. So just tearing off the white edge. Tearing those off all the way around, and then separating our 2 images. didn't do that very well. I feel like it's been a long time since I've been in the craft room, but it really hasn't, which is kind of strange. Okay, and that didn't tear very well. So I'm just going to snip off a tiny bit here and a tiny bit there, just to kind of straighten it out a little bit. So they are our two focal papers for this 2-page spread, and I'm thinking I'd like them to go that way. And then I've chosen backing papers from DigitalCurio. This is a pink linen digital paper set. As you see here, all sorts of pinks. I'm not going to flip you through all of them, but lots of variety in pink. I'm going to be using this paper here. So that is the pink linen digital paper. And then the other one I've chosen is from the grunge linen digital paper from DigitalCurio, and I've decided to use this, I don't know what you call that, brownie. I kind of see it as a fawn colour. I don't know whether that's what you would think, but so they are my two backing papers, and I'm thinking I will pop them that way. Again, still looks very Christmassy, but so not traditional Christmas colours, which I really, really love. So now I should have a template. So my template for the backing paper. Just taking off my white edge all the way around. I'm actually really excited to be working on this book again. It's kind of crazy. I'm quietly going, yes, I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this down and use this as my guide to tear out my backing papers. Again, it's a template that I've created from one of the book pages that I've torn out of the encyclopedia. Little scraps. Oops. Didn't think that little piece would tear off. I almost didn't do it. And again, I'm just going to use my template. And I'm going to tear a piece big enough to use as our backing paper. There is actually a folder in my playlist for the Christmas Altered book. If you have missed seeing previous videos, if you look there, that's where you will find the videos for the other pages that we've already done. Like I said, this was a project I started before Christmas, and I was so excited to have a play. First time I've altered such a big book, and was really loving the way it came out, and then realized that I could make videos but I couldn't upload them, and so storage wise I just had to stop creating videos because I had no way of storing them or keeping track of them, and it snowballed. I felt like months before my technical problems were solved. And by that stage, Christmas was long gone. And I had a new project that I wanted to start on. So I had actually started, I think, on that. I don't know if it was just before my internet problems were solved or around the same time as they were solved. And so that became a priority then. So pretty. And the pink is not a traditional Christmas colour, certainly not a colour I'd go looking for when thinking about making a Christmas journal, but given the papers I had to work with from the set I'm using from AntiquePaperie, I was just like, the blues and the pinks were prominent colours, and I was like, oh my gosh, that could be so beautiful with a pink backdrop. And when I popped this paper over it, I felt like it really drew the colour of the rose out and made it stand out more. So that was why I chose the pink for the background paper for this page. Okay. Oh my gosh, yes, 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 yes. Okay, so let's get to gluing. Terrible grammar, my grandmother would be horrified. Okay, I'm just checking to see how that's going to sit on the page. Hopefully it will be okay. My blue stick is not very blue at all. It's funny, sometimes they are incredibly dark and other times it's like it was never coloured. It's an imposter. It's a glue stick, not a blue stick. Is it? No, it actually says blue stick. It says it goes on blue. Sorry if I'm wobbling the camera. Okay. So oops. Now from memory, I had to turn this around, or I didn't have to turn it around. I found that the best way to line up my page was to turn the book around to line up the edge. It's very tacky, so it's sticking to the book straight away. Okay, so burnishing that down as best I can. My fingers are really tacky now. Thought I had a little bit of glue there that I needed to pull away, but it doesn't look like it's there now. And I know I'm spending quite a bit of time making sure this is burnished down, but because this sheet wraps around that fold on the spine, I want to make sure it's really well adhered before I move on. Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's left a mark on the page. I hope that comes off. Big glue line right across the center. That does not make me happy. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and I'm going to say about there. Need to get some paper towel. See if I can wipe away that mark. I don't know if you can see it. I can feel it's still very gummy where that glue was sitting. But I'm hoping it will dry okay. I might leave it for a moment and wipe over it again. And then this sheet. Now, I did just think to myself, I do want to punch a hole. So, now this is my template again, and I'm just using it to roughly find center. And so I think I might punch this. And I'm going to do this one as well. I'm just lining up the two folds, and I'm going to use that as a template. So I roughly come in the same distance. Before I punch, I'll know where to punch. And then I can use that as a template when I hindsight is telling me I probably shouldn't have done that, but I know I can use the opposite side for the other use for this template. There's a couple of different ways I want to use it, and I was just like, oh, that will totally foil my other idea, but I can do that on the opposite side. And I need more hands, so come the trusty paper clips. My fingers are a little bit tacky, so it's kind of sticking, my fingers are kind of sticking to the paper when I move my hand. So just using my paper clips to help me out. I'd be lost without them. Okay. So essentially I'm going to have a bit of a tuck spot here and a pocket down here. So the pocket will be very large and a smaller tuck spot at the top. That's my plan. And this sheet here will go on about there. So just want to make sure I have this lined up where I need it. I'm going to say about there. And punching that little piece out too. So I need to ink this. And this. And yes, I'm going to use a new sheet because I don't want the same thing to happen. I went to reach for my ink then. Don't want the same thing to, can't even talk. I don't want the same thing to happen as happened on the other page. Okay, so a good coverage of glue. And I'm thinking, whoops, I'm hoping that view isn't too bad for you. Should be okay. So, oops, how not to do it every time. So I'm just lining this up. And burnishing it from behind because I have sticky here and I don't want it to stick to this page. And I'm going to fold that over. Okay, and I need to add some ink across here. And then this one will pop down, so it'll just be the tiniest little part of the corner that I fold there, keeping most of that image intact as well. So again, good coverage of glue. One of the beauties of using a large book is that there isn't a lot of waste, I've noticed, as I've been making this, or like I'm kind of using practically full pages. On the downside, there aren't a lot of scraps to use for journaling cards and the like, I've noticed. So I went looking for scraps, thinking I could use them to create some journaling cards, and I was like, where are my scraps? And suddenly realized that majority of the papers are going into the book, which is great. So okay, I was applying a little uneven there, not quite sure why. Okay. So I'm kind of lining it up with the bottom of the opposite page. Oh, I'm going to say about there. Folding that over. I love it. Okay. Oh my gosh, so pretty. And I hadn't actually considered this bit here, but now that I'm noticing it, I'm thinking I might use the same brown if I can. Did I have... The scraps weren't really very big, were they? So what about a layer effect? Okay. Need to oops. Okay. And before I glue that down, I'm just going to glue this one to the brown. So just running probably want a little ink. So about there. And then I'm going to ink around the outside, and I don't have to worry about the bottom of the triangle because it will be under the covering book page. And I'm not going to risk it. And I'm going to glue this part down too. Oh yes, that's fun. Love it. Okay, so this page here, because I don't have any pockets or anything on it, as in using two separate book pages, I'm thinking I might add just a very, very plain calico pocket. Don't know that this strip is wide enough. Oh, I think it might be. Yes, indeedy. Okay, so I think I want to fold down the hem, and I'm thinking I may have that showing. Okay. And I have this ribbon here, which I also bought at Spotlight when I purchased my goodies to use in this altered book. And I'm thinking so I'm thinking I may just zigzag around the whole thing, including across the top, to hold that in place. So I'm going to paper clip these on. So I have this lace here that I'm thinking would be really pretty across there. And it's like the perfect size. Okay, so I'm thinking I may just sew that on when I sew around. I just feel like that's really pretty and subtle. I do like that. going to cut there. And I'm wondering about bringing this over here as well. Oops. Okay. Ah, that was a big glue goober. I do need to add some more. Trying to avoid getting it everywhere. And I might use the art glitter glue here because it is a much finer lace. Okay, just making sure it's attaching close to the edge properly. I do notice it's picking up a little of that vintage photo into the lace, but I can't do much to control it, I'm afraid. Okay, and I'm going to cut away my excess. Maybe this way. There we go. Okay, love it. And then this one here, I'm just going to sew around this and glue it back on, or glue the pocket on. So I'll just quickly do that off camera. I won't be a moment. Okay, so I've quickly sewn around that, and essentially I've created a pocket here as well. I was going to sew that down, but I think I might leave it like that. Little hidden detail. And I might actually pop some fray check around this before I glue it down, I'm thinking. So just taking off those couple of strands. And it's a Helmar's fray stopper that I'm using, that I picked up in my local Spotlight. It was on special when I purchased it, so I can't tell you full price. I think I paid $5 for the bottle at the time. I've had it for a little while now. So just applying it around the edges, because I haven't hemmed them. I'll do it from behind on this side because that lace is very close. And I wouldn't be so worried about it fraying if it wasn't a pocket, but because it's a pocket, I don't really want the pocket to fall apart. And I'm just going to run a little across that edge there. Probably not so necessary, but I had a little bit of spare there. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I will glue that pocket onto my page. So, oops. While it's drying, so remembering we don't have a pocket on this page, this will essentially be our pocket, and over here I would like my template. So I'm going to run glue down this edge and I'm using art glitter glue for this. So this will be closing that pocket, and then here I'm going to use this as a guide. So this is my template, and I'm just running a strip of glue, or oops, trying to keep it straight, all the way along. So I've just folded up 1/3. Let's turn this around. That's better. And then gluing across the bottom. And then remembering to close our book and pull that book page as close to the outside of the book as possible. So I'm kind of pulling it towards me, towards this edge, just to make sure that my pages are as even as possible, or as flat as possible. Okay, and now I'm going to turn that over, and I'm just going to burnish that down. Okay, I don't know why, but for some reason when I look at this page, I'm thinking Neapolitan ice cream. That just sprung into my head, so I had to share, which I really, really love, by the way. And so I could almost, it's almost like smell-o-vision. I can actually smell Neapolitan ice cream. Okay, so this will be glued on here. I'm not quite ready to glue it down yet. I just want it to dry a little bit more. And we have a little tuck spot here. And then in here we have a larger 2/3 of a page pocket, and I'm just noticing that this hasn't quite glued down properly here, so I'm going to add a little extra glue to paper. Okay, it's not an overly busy page, and I love that. I am wondering if I want a little piece of lace or something at the top of that page just to balance it out. I'm wondering whether maybe I could use another piece of this. Ah, yes, I feel like that works. So I'm thinking about halfway. Where did I put my scissors? Okay, it's turned out to be a very delicate page, which I love. Okay, that way. And again, I'm going to use the art glitter glue. Okay. Looking for paper towel. I think I ended up throwing it away. Or it's rolled off my desk. I'm just gluing the other half of that down. Again, that looks like it's not adhered well, so I'm just going to add a little bit of glue underneath. Okay, oh my gosh, I love the delicateness of that page or 2-page spread. So this might be, it feels pretty good. So I'm going to glue this down and then that will finish our 2-page spread. When I picked up that page to trim that lace, I do need to add a little bit more glue there, I think. I love the contrast between the page before and this page, like so different. And I feel like this book is a little bit of its own Christmas surprise. Like each time you turn the page, it's so different from the last, and I really love that. So I'm just using the fabric glue to glue this down. In hindsight, this corner probably wasn't the best spot to have my back stitching because it does add that little bit of bulk there, which is very close to the spine, but oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I really love the way this book showcases those beautiful papers from AntiquePaperie. Just stunning. So I'm going to leave that to sit and dry, and I will leave our video there. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed getting back into this book. It's so pretty. So pretty. I love it. I could sit and flip through the pages of this book for days and days and days. Like, I just love looking through it. So I've really enjoyed getting back into this book, and I thank you all for joining me. And I hope that you're happy to come on a Christmas adventure with me throughout the year, because I'm really looking forward to it. Please don't forget, give this video a like, give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed what you've seen. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell and select all so that you don't miss any future videos, and always feel free to comment. I love to hear from you. I look forward to seeing you soon, everybody. Happy crafting and bye for now.